guys! Welcome back to another episode of Universal Access Podcast, Paano Kaya? And today, we're going to feature a topic na very close to our hearts, or as you guys might know, September or Bear months na. And September is actually Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. And in lieu of that, we actually wanted to feature a mental health topic or a mental health conversation because we feel like it's a very relevant topic for all of us. And with that, we actually featured a very special guest. Our special guest here has been in the HR field for 7 years. She's worked with international teams across global organizations, an HR analyst, and of course, a passionate mental health speaker and advocate. Ayan, Miss Diane.
Yes.
Hi, Miss.
Hi, Ray. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited for this podcast series.
Right. Grabe, level up na talaga yung podcast namin kasi before, yung ginaguest lang namin mostly internal or employees lang. Pero Miss Diane is kind enough to guest in our podcast and share yung mga insights or yung mga na-experience niya as a mental health advocate and speaker. So before we dive into the episode, Miss, kamusta kayo? How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. Really excited for this. Sabi mo nga, bare months na. So we are in our Christmas era.
Totoo.
You know how kapag dumaan na yung September, it's the Jose Marichan songs and everything. So really looking forward to the holidays.
Yeah. So ano siya, season of celebration.
Correct.
Kasi sa Pilipinas, pag September pa lang, Christmas na eh.
True, may mga Christmas lights na sa
Oo.
malls. Nakikita mo na yung mga decorations.
Totoo. Samantalang pag sa ibang bansa ka, pag December, dun pa lang talaga
Correct.
Christmas.
Actually, even a week yata prior.
Iba talaga yung Pilipinas.
Correct.
And of course, with the Bear months coming along, and of course, we acknowledge na there are celebrations that happen. Pero we also acknowledge na these are challenging times as well.
Correct.
Especially for our employees kasi mas nag-grow yung demand in terms of their work. So mas nagiging challenging for them, not just to manage their workload, but also probably to manage their emotions as well. So yun actually magiging topic natin for today. We've actually collated responses from our employees in terms of if meron silang mga challenges or may mga times ba na hindi na sila okay. And then we've actually collated a lot. And speaking of that, or since our topic is paano kaya kung hindi na ako okay, since na-mention you, Miss, na you've been a mental health advocate for years and you've been giving back to the community for quite a while now. Ayan. So I'd like to know, what does hindi na ako okay mean, and kailan ba tayo dapat nagpo-pause or nag-check-in sa sarili natin?
Yes, that's a good shout, Ray. As you've mentioned, kalakip kasi ng bare months natin is yung mga high demands sa workload, no? So, common in this last quarter of the year, I would say, na talagang high yung workload, puro overtime kasi may mga maraming hinahabol na deadlines, maraming nagko-close ng mga offices much earlier than the Christmas itself. So when we say we're not okay, actually people handle it differently. You know, we experiences or deal with our challenges differently.
Yes.
May mga iba you would see na nakakagawa pa naman or nakakaabot pa naman sa deliverables, nakakaabot sa deadlines with their outputs, but behind all of those, hindi mo alam yung nangyayari behind those closed doors. Of course, we have our expectation, as an employees, as part of the organization, you have your outputs, you have your deliverables, but the gist, I would say, is that how they cope up more rather than the output that they've been, presenting to the organization. So when you say now, when is the right time for me to pause? I think it really manifests much more earlier than you would have thought. May mga nafe-feel ka ng burnout in a way na parang ayaw mo nang bumangon sa umaga, alam mo yun, siksikan ka sa Christmas traffic, sa rush hour, traffics and things like that. So it's really important that when it manifests or when you feel na, oops, medyo medyo kakaiba na yung nafe-feel ko. And it really does would manifest into your physical health.
Yeah.
You would know that something is, wrong already, or something is, you are, what's the proper term for this? You are stretching yourself much more than necessary for you to deliver. So, yeah.
Kumbaga parang yung mga nangyayari sa'yo, it's beyond your control to cope na.
Correct. And, as a person, innate sa atin, we want to be productive, in our life. We want to finish all of our backlogs, yung mga expectation from us. But you can only do so much, especially in a span of 8 hours. I don't think that would be enough, really, to finish everything, every demand in just one sitting. And sometimes nga, even sa atin sa Philippines, we have 40 hours, regular working days per week, but it's not even enough, may mga nag-overtime pa rin dyan, minsan may mga nag-work kahit weekends, hindi maiwasan, just to really catch that deadlines and everything,
To the point now, we sometimes forget to take care of ourselves.
Correct. Malagi kasi natin inuuna di ba? Hindi naman parang, hindi na yun bago sa atin. We always want to put other people or first other than ourselves. So it's a common thing. I think it's not only us here in the Philippines, but to other cultures as well, as part of being productive. I'm giving air quote because there's a lot of you to be productive and in a way na hindi mo uubusin yung sarili.
Yeah, and rest is productive too.
Correct. Rest is productive. You really have to take care of your, of yourself.
Yeah. And actually liked what you said na sometimes yung signs, it actually appears early on na hindi na notice.
Yes.
I feel like for me, even if I'm also actually a psych grad, and so I'm kind of Yes. I'm also actually a psych grad, and so it was kind of easy then to become a mental health advocate or be more aware of what's happening out there. And I feel like with my own experiences, it's easy to spot these symptoms or signs in myself kasi napag-aralan mo siya ng college. So you're kind of more aware of it na minsan kapag nanonotice ko na medyo yung hindi mo ma-explain na hindi ka okay deep inside, pero you know it na parang there's something wrong.
Correct.
So it's really difficult to do that. And actually, some of our employees also shared na some of them are quiet quitting or merong overwhelmed with their tasks. Stress sila sa daily commute. That's one factor din na nakaka-affect sa well-being nila. And meron din dyan nag-share na sometimes they isolate themselves or parang go siya from one extreme or one emotion to the next. So, coming from that, Miss Diane, what do you think are the signs or parang whether subtle or obvious na masasabi natin na baka hindi na ako okay? Ganun.
That's a good question. As you have mentioned earlier, parang it really the stress or yung mental health mo, you would know something's wrong if hindi na siya, may mga napapansin kang out of usual norm. I think the reason why it's kind of difficult for us to quantify is because it's not like the physical health na, oops, medyo may rashes ako. You can easily see that manifesting in your, not really manifesting, but showing symptoms physically. But with mental health kasi, it's not something that you can easily see. I think that's the reason why it's much more difficult for us to quantify. If it's something na, stress ba to? Or baka nag-iinarte lang ako? Or baka pagod na pagod lang ako sa mga deliverables ko for this week? And it's understandable. It's actually one of the reasons why we, encourages people to talk more, break the stigmas in terms of these topics, because this is not something you usually talk about, especially in our country.
So I'd also like to know, with your experience in corporate and of course in community work, what are the workplace stressors na napapansin niyo pa na employees experience?
Yes, it's a collective, in a sense na sa performance yan ibibis. Minsan may mga coworkers ka na mahirap katrabaho, personalin ka pag mas magaling ka sa kanila. So that's all part of the workplace stressors. And sabi nga, 'di ba? And kahit ito medyo gasgas na to, and I've been hearing this a lot of times already in my profession na okay lang na mahirap yung trabaho because that you can easily understand or you can easily finish. Pero mas mahirap pag may katrabaho kang mas mahirap maging katrabaho. Narinig mo na rin ba yun? And it's true.
It's not the work, it's the people.
Correct. It's correct. And even people, sometimes even if they are being offered, it's also not new na sa corporate may mga lumalapit for you to have a better opportunity. But some people actually refuses that better pay, better opportunity kasi okay sila sa environment, sa culture nung office nila. So yeah.
So work-life balance din.
Yes. So work-life balance. But sabi nga nila, baka ma-politically correct tayo dito. It's not work-life balance, it's work-life harmony.
Yes.
As they've said.
Tama. Oo nga pala. Na sometimes, it's not really, especially with the younger generation nowadays, they're not really looking for a higher pay nor like a higher position. But rather, they're looking for a place, of course, a good culture and environment. And mas may work-life.
Correct. That's true, no? Kaya nga there are also ongoing studies comparing the generations, millennials to Gen Zs. Kasi nag-iiba yung trajectory ng ating shift sa ating culture. And sometimes makikita mo yan even with the benefits that organization offers, potential with their potential employees na kami dito work from home, kami dito we offer twice a week of on-site lang, the rest is for you to work from home. And it's a good, it's a good benefit or like it's something that would entice your potential employees. And then apart from that, there's HMO benefits. Like I know organizations who offer free psychological support services as part of their HMOs, and it's something that's enticing for you because not all HMOs cover that. So that's the reality of things. Tsaka ito, like for example, yung ginagawa niyong podcast, not every organization has this. Not all organization, initiate this kind of things, but it's part of talking about mental health. So it's really embedded in the culture. You can see that it really starts from, the top management up, that trickles down to permeates to the employee level, down to employees level.
Right. So, and I think meron ding ibang organizations that are partner with different mental health providers.
Yes, correct.
Aside from the HMO.
Yes.
So, speaking of resources or support, you mentioned a while ago, ma'am, na support is collective.
Correct.
And speaking of support, you've also kind of talked about na din what organizations can do to support the well-being of their employees. But I wanted to dive deeper into that. What do you think can organizations or managers do to support the well-being of their employees?
Okay. That's a great question, no? Kasi, yun nga, I think we have previously mentioned this during our discussion. Medyo mahaba na yung mga naging topics natin. But, again, some organization offers flexible working arrangement as part of their benefits, work from home, hybrid setup. Those are the things that entices the younger generations or the younger workforce that will later on be a part of the organization. And then again, on top of that, there's the benefits such as the HMOs that handle psychological support services. I personally know some of the organizations that also refrain from setting up meetings during Fridays. Nagpe-prepare na si employee para sa weekend. So we want to minimize, hindi naman bawal, pero we want to minimize, setting up meetings during Friday kasi we give the time to the employee, to have the rest by Friday prior, 5 p.m. or after working hours onwards up until weekends. And then, merong mga organizations na meron silang tinatawag na kumustahan session. This is not more of a huddle, but more of really to check in with their employees.
Yeah.
Iba pa kasi yung huddle whereas you like gather and enumerate the things na you have for the weekly or daily lists. Kumustahan sessions are more of checking in with your employees. How are they handling, especially kapag may mga calamities na nangyayari, it's the HR who really initiates this kind of things. And then, I've also, with my previous organizations, I've also encountered na dapat hindi lalampas ng 9 hours in a week yung overtime mo. Kasi they wanna check in why are you, having that too much time finishing all your job. So in a span of a week, dapat, I think hindi nga 9 baka nga 6 lang or 6 to 8. 6 at most. In a week, span of a week. Pag nakita ng management, because it can be seen in our timesheets, right? Na marami kang overtime, ipapatawag ka ng management. Hindi naman para ka ma-principal's office, but really just to check in how's your bandwidth or your capacity in handling your workload. So those are the things that might seem little, but it really helps a lot. And parang ako din ng mga bago-bago, nasa-shock ako na may mga ganun palang companies or organization that, really takes good care of their employees and of course the wellnesses of their employees as well. So those are the things sa private orgs. And then, ayun, as mentioned, then of course it's a joint collaboration with the national and local government units. For national, we have hotline crisis National Center for Mental Health. So it's a 24/7 hotline crisis, whereas you can call them free of charge. And anytime someone will pick up your call, and it's not necessarily for you to say na oops, baka ma-define ako as a manamento. Sometimes you just need someone to talk. And they also initiate volunteering programs, especially for those that were registered psychologists, registered psychometricians to help, aid, especially sa ganitong month, like September, as you have mentioned, is a suicide prevention awareness month. We give aids, to not only to their employees, but to the entire Filipino population, because you really cannot nitpick everyone who's going through or struggling mentally. Everyone is lahat nakakaranas ng stress, lahat nakakaranas ng lungkot, 'di ba? Lahat nakakaranas ng may pinagdadaanan, and you are not, and hindi dahil may pera ka, hindi ka na makakaranas nito. Everyone can be equally, what's the proper term for this?
Have access to this.
Yes, can have access to these things, and it's a free one. And then apart from that, LGUs, for example, I reside in QC, and they have their own hotline, and it's like the 911 hotline, but it's particular for QC, and all your issues you can easily call that telephone number, and then they will ask you, or ano bang term for this one, not distribute, but relay you to the appropriate department kumpara saan yung tinatawag mo. And it's very efficient, talagang well-funded. You would see that, kapag maayos talaga yung ng local government units, hindi ka mahihirapan to really reach out. And then,
so actually ngayon ko lang nalaman yung ma'am, parang limited lang yung OT mo per week. Hindi ko alam na may organizations pa na gumagawa nun, or companies.
Yes, there's that with my previous organization. I wouldn't name who's who, but it's really a thing with them. And then, of course, apart from the L&D initiatives, kapartner natin with the employee engagement. Sometimes makikita mo yung mga kaibigan mo, may makapakain sa office nila. Like, alam mo yun, wala namang celebration. Pero like, every Wednesday or like every Thursday, they have like office gathering. Siyempre, iba to sa mga papizza lang kapag kami mga nasi-stress. But it's really part of the engagement, and, to boost employees' morale. And, of course, to give back to your employees, especially employees yung gumagawa ng, alam mo yun, na
they bring in the profit.
Correct. And they are really the bread and butter of the company. So it's just fair for me. It's more than fair just to also give back to the employees. Apart from the recognition, to the promotions, salary increases, these things also help in the long term.
Naku, pagpakain mang lagi kami present dyan sa department namin.
Yes. And you get to also connect, di ba, with
Yeah,
other employees, that
totoo.
sense of belongingness na isang organization kayo and you all equally wants to achieve the same goal. I think that's a good initiative din.
Tsaka
for
break
others.
din.
Correct, di ba?
Para
Chika-chika.
hindi puro work, ganun.
Yes. So,
Actually, naalala ko din, nasabi niyo kasi ma'am, yung parang Fridays, parang no meeting Fridays.
Yes.
Naalala ko kasi, may ganun din kami with my previous company naman.
Good.
Pero during Wednesday. So, Wellness Wednesdays tawag namin doon. So,
okay.
we don't schedule meetings during that day. And we actually have then an engagement session facilitated by our wellness team. So, meron kaming dedicated wellness team. Tapos, nagpa-facilitate sila either Zumba class or ano ba, meditation, anything na makaka-help kahit very quick lang for the employees. And going naman doon sa nasabi mong mga external resources, we've acknowledged na we've come a long way in terms of mental health. Kasi, pero we acknowledge as well now, we still have a far...
Yes, malayo na, pero malayo
pa. Kasi kung iisipin mo, medyo tabu topic pa din yung mental health. And although maraming mga organizations na nagpa-provide ng mental health services, alam mong, naalala ko kasi na mental health or mental health consultation or mental health checkup, if it's a thing, it should be like as practiced as a dental checkup.
Correct.
Parang ganun.
Correct.
We think na when we reach out to these hotlines, yung NCMH or other, yung LGUs, we think na madadiagnose na tayo agad. That's actually not the thing.
Correct.
As long as you feel like you want to talk to someone
Correct.
or you want an expert insight, I think that's one of the things na hindi masyadong aware yung iba sa atin na an expert can explain to us.
Yes.
There is a magic or there is something great about knowing what it is you're experiencing, describing that, and then knowing what to do after that.
Correct.
So, sobrang laki ng tulong ng isang expert doon, and that's actually one of the things na pwedeng nating makuha kapag mag-reach out tayo sa mga free services na ito.
Correct.
Parang they can help us explain or understand what we're going through or what we're feeling.
Yes, that's correct. That's a really good observation, and it's a good insight from you. Also,
how about ma'am for those na probably struggling silently or probably barely hanging on, meron ka bang message sa kanila or is there something that they can do right now?
wait. It's quite common that people will rarely talk about things, especially when someone is struggling. That's why it's important that we have available resources like the 24/7 hotline of NCMH for these people. And also to reiterate that it's an anonymous call, di ba? Parang hindi ka required magpa-check with them if you really want to, may mga panahon na you just really want to talk with someone, and that someone, with the very busyness of our lives, sometimes you cannot even reach out with your friends, with your loved ones, and it's okay. It happens. Life happens. But do not forget that you are not alone. Available resources are readily there for you. All you have to do is to seek out and really connect, with people. We're all struggling, probably not in the same bandwidth, but, sabi nga parang, I would rather hear from you than not hearing from you at all. So it's important then for you to give chances, or not chances, but give chance to your friends to be your friends. Kasi sometimes, may mga times na nakikimkim natin yung mga bagay, and it's not to shame those people. It's really hard to reach out. Especially, mahirap nga mag-reach out if you need help. What more if you are really struggling? So, in that sense, sometimes, sa kagustuhan nating ayusin or ano yung problema natin ng atin lang, nakakalimutan natin mag-reach out sa mga kaibigan natin na nandyan. And how, parang sa akin in that regard, hindi mo rin nabibigyan ng equal chance yung friends mo maging friends with you. That's why it's important, really, really, for anyone to seek help. It's one of the things that I've learned, with the adulting, lahat ng friends mo nagiging busy, and it's, you cannot take it against them. It's part of the life. But simple check-ins could really mean a lot. And just talk it out with a stranger, talk it out with the professionals. There's nothing wrong in seeking out professional advices from psychologists and our psychiatrists. And if one thing, I'm really happy that it's being talked. The younger generations really paved the way to really talk about mental health struggles, mental health issues, and there's a lot of podcasts then available on YouTube and on Spotify that talk about these things. There are self-help books, kasi hindi naman lahat extrovert, not everyone is introvert. So, what I'm saying is that you are not alone in your journey. There are people who are willing to help, willing to volunteer, and it's a world. It's a world where we want to foster mental health not only in the workplace, but mental health is a universal health, as what we'd like to always remind people.
Wow. So thank you so much for that, Mom. And again, thank you so much, Miss Diane, for sharing your insights, your experiences, especially being so open in talking about mental health, or being so open to providing yung mga na-share nyo. Ang dami ko talagang natutunan, Ma'am. And I think it's very important that you said na sometimes, even if we feel like we're alone, we're not.
Yes.
So just feel free to reach out to whoever you can, to your friend, to your family. Kahit usap lang, simpleng usap lang.
Yes, catch up sa coffee,
would
diba?
go a long way.
Yes.
And I think one of the things that I've also taken away is mental health struggle. The first step is really to acknowledge that. It's very important for you to acknowledge that you might be going through something kasi that might pave the way for you to knowing what to do next.
Yes.
So it's very important to admit or to acknowledge what we're going through kasi we owe it to ourselves to be kind and to or to reach out to or to get the support that we need. So thank you again so much, Ma'am. Any other last insights or anything that you weren't able to share a while ago, or you feel like okay naman, nasabi mo na lahat, Ma'am?
Yeah, I think we've pretty much covered naman. If may mga questions sila or follow-throughs, I am more than happy to answer. And I really hope na you learned a lot from this podcast. I had a great time. And we're here. I mean, again, malayo na, pero malayo pa. But, it's an everyday improvement.
Yeah.
I think it's, for me personally, I won't, probably not in this lifetime, I won't benefit from it. But I want the next generation really to, for them to have these accesses that we do not have. And I think that's the goal of everything that we've been doing in this lifetime.
Yeah. So, hawak kamay tayo patungo sa isang bukas mo, bilang naging Tagalog, sa isang mundo na mas open sa mental health or sa isang mas kind na mundo. So, thank you so much again, Miss Diane. And thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. And I hope that you were able to take a lot from our special guest, because I did. Ang dami ko talagang natutunan, and I felt like this is a free consultation for me. So thank you so much again, Miss. And of course, thank you so much. If you like this episode, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. So please feel free to do so in our YouTube and Spotify channel. So we will be releasing new episodes bi-weekly, so that's every Friday. So please tune in. And of course, aside from the podcast, we also have other contents on our social media platforms, which are AI mo na yan. It covers tips on AI and then nano learning, so mostly creative, fun ways to help employees with practical skills. So thank you so much again, guys, and
Thank you. Bye.